Ayo, welcome in to CHGO Bets Daily. Stevie, you didn't get it this time. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties there. That's if we started a little late there. I'm Cody. This is CHGO Bets Daily, presented by PointsBet. Get what is it we always say? Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Wow, it is early and I am struggling out the gate. I apologize. Steven, how you doing? We're joined by our good friend Jim Miller. He is the director of publicity at Hawthorne Racecourse out in Arlington Heights. He's here to talk to us about more horse racing this weekend. Preakness, is that how it's pronounced?
Yep. Preakness Stakes this weekend.
Yeah, Jim, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it is. It's early, I think, for everybody. I mean, we're just getting ready. We're about 3 hours away from racing here at Hawthorne today, so we all get a head start on it. But betting's open on the Preakness right now, so we wanted to get a little bit of a head start on the betting. And it's one of those things, guys. When we talked about the Kentucky Derby a couple weeks ago, we talked before betting had opened on the Derby. The eventual winner of the Kentucky Derby wasn't even in the race at the time. Rich Strike was on the outside looking into that field of 20, so we didn't even mention the horse. And all of a sudden, this horse goes, wins the race, pays 80 to 1, and all of a sudden, there's $160 back for 2.
And I know you made money on that, right, Jim?
No.
I'm not many others, yeah.
I was all in on what Jim was talking about. He was all about, what was it, Messier? Yep. And then he really talked me into the horse from Japan, Crown Pride.
Yep.
And I was in on Epicenter as well, who's also in this race tomorrow. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say about that horse this time around. But yeah, I went 0 for 4. I put four $25 outright bets out for the Kentucky Derby. First time ever betting on horse racing, and started 0-4, just off to a great start, fellas.
I'll tell you, though, you were so close on Epicenter, because Epicenter did run a very good race. We talked about how wide open the Derby was going to be, guys. And when you have normal horse races, your favorites say 2 to 1, maybe 5 to 2, 9 to 5, somewhere around there. Because of the 20-horse field for the Derby, Epicenter was a 4 to 1 favorite. So there was some value to be had in the Derby. I don't think anybody expected a horse like Rich Strike to win the race. When I talked about the race, I kind of talked about the pace of the race and didn't think there was a ton of speed. And then all of a sudden we get this crazed lunatic horse, Summer is Tomorrow, who goes running off when they're doing the post parade, introducing the horses, and then does the same at the start of the race. And it completely changed the complexion of the race, because they went so fast early on that they just couldn't carry that speed around the 1.25 miles. Everybody that was up close, Crown Pride, horse that I liked, Messier, a horse that I liked, they couldn't keep up. Messier was actually in the mix when they turned for home, and it actually put ahead in front briefly, but just too much to ask out of a racehorse to go that fast. Set things up for the closers, and Rich Strike, every single thing that the jock did, he did right, and all of a sudden there's an 80 to 1 Derby winner.
Was Rich Strike one of the 5 that you said to stay away
from?
No,
he actually wasn't. So that was one of the things that I was happy to see. Summer is Tomorrow was one of those 5. It was more about those horses along the inside. And we talked about it with a 20-horse field, that it's so hard to win on the inside. So the inside 2 horses I found were going to have really tough trips. And then just a couple of other horses that I didn't think had a shot. Rich Strike was intriguing because he trained really well going into the Derby. They did everything thinking that they had a shot to get into the Derby. And then it wasn't until 5 minutes before wagering opened for the Kentucky Derby that Rich Strike even got into the race. So they were 5 minutes away from not even getting into the Kentucky Derby at all. Then all of a sudden, the stroke of luck, Ethereal Road scratches out, Rich Strike gets in, and then there's your story.
Wow. Incredible stuff, honestly.
Yeah. It was cool. It is. It's a Cinderella story for horse racing, for sure.
I was going to say, like, people were saying arguably the greatest upset in sports history. Like, I sat there and watched it and was just, I don't think I'd ever had a bigger adrenaline rush for a 2-minute span. And, obviously, like I said, never really been into watching horse racing, and watching that just all play out. And then being so close with the horses that I had, and then to still lose, it's just, it honestly sounds about right for me. Anyway, man, before we get into tomorrow's race, you want to help our listeners out in terms of the Club Hawthorne app and help them figure out how to sign up and all that stuff in case they haven't?
Yeah, and it's the easiest way to play the races right now here in Illinois. It's the Club Hawthorne app. You can download it on any platform there, and then you can deposit money right off the bat. Wagering's open actually right now on the Preakness Stakes, so you can either go to wager.clubhawthorne.com or just go to your app store and download the Club Hawthorne app. You can make deposits right there, and then you can play not only the Preakness, but you can play any race that's offered. We offer races in North America. We offer international races. And like you mentioned, Cody, there's people that'll bet 200, 2,000, 20,000 on races. There's people that'll bet $2 on a race. You get the same rush when you're watching those horses turn into the stretch. Even if you have a horse that's just a part of it, just knowing that you have that chance to make a little bit of money in return, that's the coolest thing about it all. It's the coolest thing about horse racing because it's pari-mutuel wagering. So the bets wagered by everybody else is what sets the odds. It's not odds against the house by any means, but you're betting against all the other people that are playing the race too.
Yeah, no, it's a very great way to explain how to use it. I admittedly had a little bit of trouble at first, but eventually found out how you go through and see all these different races and stuff, and then going through. So it's very easy stuff. Anyway, let's talk about the race.
Yeah.
I will. I mentioned Epicenter earlier. He's in this race tomorrow, so that was kind of like when I first realized. I was like, okay, now I got to ask Jim. Like, do I ride Epicenter again? Like, is the luck gonna roll my way now with him? Coming off. He was a favorite. If not but the favorite, and came so close. Like, is it a bounce back race for him?
I think so. There's only 3 horses, Cody, that came out of the Kentucky Derby that are even going into this race: Simplification, Happy Jack, and Epicenter. And Epicenter is trained by a Hall of Famer in Steve Asmussen. He's patterned this horse's races to get it ready to go through the entire Triple Crown series. So this horse ran in the Kentucky Derby and ran a really big race. Remember, this horse broke from post number 3, and we talked about how anybody inside of post 5, it's very tough to work out a trip because there's so much traffic to work your way through. But Epicenter worked out a trip and ran a really good race and got beaten less than a length when all was said and done. But what I really like is after the Kentucky Derby and before the Preakness, the trainer brought this horse out and got a workout at Churchill Downs, meaning that the horse is definitely fit and ready and bounced back well. Epicenter is the horse to beat. You won't get the same value as the Kentucky Derby, but I do think it is the winner of the Preakness tomorrow.
Wow, okay. Well,
speaking of Epicenter, I got to ask, Joel Rosario, he's gotten so close on 3 separate occasions to winning the Preakness Stakes, but settled for runner-up each time. Yeah. You mentioned he rides the favorite Epicenter. Is this year that Rosario finally breaks through and wins it for owner Ron Winchell?
I think so. And just looking at kind of how everything unfolds, the big thing for Epicenter is because he has some different running styles. He can go out there and show speed if needed. He can rate off the pace a little bit if needed. So he's kind of a push-button type of horse. So when you look at a race like this, unlike the Derby where you had a bunch of different horses that went for the lead, there's only 2 or 3 that may go for the lead. So I think Epicenter will actually sit much closer in here. But because you only have 9 horses in the race, it's a little bit shorter race too, going 1 3/16 miles compared to 1.25 miles. I think Rosario just tucks in right behind the early pace setters there, gets to jump on the late closers, and this time I think he extends that lead in the lane and gets up 3 or 4 lengths so nobody can run him down.
97 degrees on Saturday,
yeah,
with no precipitation. How could hot climate in a dry track affect the race?
Yeah, it's not good for horses by any means. So a couple of things you want to watch for, because horses are going to sweat just like any other athlete. But when horses sweat, it does remove some energy from them. So when you see these horses, typically for the Preakness, they get saddled out in the infield. So they're under the beating sun. They're not tucked into a stall by any means. They're out there on the turf course getting saddled. So when you're watching the horses circle around, you'll see a little bit of a change in the color of their coat, possibly for a little bit of sweat, or on their hindquarters. They almost see like a foaming coming out of their hindquarters there, which is not a good sign. So you want to watch for those things when these horses are walking around in preparation for the race. I'm hoping they're going to take some precautions and not leave them out there quite as long as they normally do, because there's all the pomp and circumstance, horses walking over, horses parading around in front of the crowd, and that if they take the precautions, that'll be good for all of the horses. But if they don't, there's a couple of signs there that you do want to watch for leading up to the start of the race.
And 97 degrees, I feel like that is going to be a huge factor in this race tomorroh.
I think my will start foaming as well. That's a hot one.
Yeah. We've talked about kind of the favorites. Is there a long shot out there, a Rich Strike, who might be able to pull this off?
Maybe. If you look at the horse right next to Epicenter, the 9 horse is a horse by the name of Skippy Longstocking. So an excellent name for a racehorse, too. This is the horse that ran 3rd in the Wood Memorial. And the Wood Memorial winner was Mo Donegal, who ran a really good race in the Derby, finishing 5th. The second place horse in there was Early Voting. And Early Voting is the horse who's the second choice in the morning line here in the Preakness. Skippy Longstocking finished just behind Early Voting in that last race. But this is a horse that's 20-1 right now in the morning line. He'll sit back a little bit early on, should come running at him late in the lane, though. So if you want a long shot price to use maybe in an exacta or a trifecta, Skippy Longstocking to me seems to be the horse.
All right. I love that name. I mean,
that is a great name.
Plenty of bets.
It's a mouthful for a track announcer, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
A key number for my next question is number 7. Trainer Dwayne Lucas is looking to win the Preakness for the 7th time to tie Bob Baffert for the most in Preakness history. Now, the horse he trains is Secret Oath, a filly.
Yep.
If Secret Oath wins, she would be just the 7th filly ever to win this race. Cody will tell you the only filly he likes is Kyle Schwarber. But how do you like Secret Oath's chances against her male competitors?
Well, you think about it, Dwayne Lucas is a Hall of Famer as well. And this is an interesting choice he made because Secret Oath was the winner of the Kentucky Oaks the day before the Derby. Now he chooses to come back. Instead of running in the Black-Eyed Susan stake against 3-year-old fillies today, he is going to run tomorrow in the Preakness. The Preakness is a shorter field, which is really good to see because Secret Oath is a horse that kind of has to work its way through traffic a little bit too. But the Black-Eyed Susan Stakes had a field of 13. So Secret Oath will definitely be the big story when you're watching all the national coverage tomorrow because it is. It's the filly trying to beat the boys. You look back to 2009, you had that massive long shot, Mind That Bird, who won the Kentucky Derby flying late. Well, the winner of the Oaks that year was a horse by the name of Rachel Alexandra. She came back and won the Preakness, defeating Mind That Bird. And we don't get Rich Strike here, but you do get the Oaks winner coming back. So there is precedent for it to happen in Secret Oath. She's definitely a very talented horse, and I think she will be there late.
That's definitely something to keep an eye on. Tyler Gaffalione. He's the youngest jockey in the field at 27 years old, but he's the only jockey taking part that's already won the Preakness Stakes. He'll be riding Happy Jack, who I believe has the 2nd longest odds at winning.
Yeah.
For the rookie horse racing better like myself, how much does the jockey play into the results?
He can play a little bit into the results for sure, only because you have to make these decisions. So when you watch the Kentucky Derby, for example, they did an awesome drone shot above the field. And when the horses turned into the stretch, they focused on the winner of the race. They focused on Rich Strike. And you watched every move the rider made, weaving his way through horses, was the perfect move. And so many other horses kind of went to the outside to avoid traffic. And Sonny Leone went to the inside, and it was like, okay, go left, go right, go left, go right. But he never stopped the horse's momentum. So that's really the biggest thing for a rider, is to keep the horse in the clear while saving as much ground as possible. Tyler Gaffalione, he is very young. He's very talented. He's won riding titles in Florida at Gulfstream Park against some of the best riders in the nation. So he's not intimidated by any means. I'll tell you, Happy Jack's going to have to run a really big race to get into the mix, but you definitely have the experienced jock and a jock that can put this horse at least in the right position to give him a shot.
All right. Well, Jim, good luck. Good luck to all of us here too. I feel like we're going to need it. But as always, great insight. You can follow Jim on Twitter at Hawthorne. Jim, he is the director of publicity out at Hawthorne Racecourse. Jim, thanks for joining us, man.
You got it, guys. Good luck. Hopefully, Cody, we get you a winner this time for the Preakness.
Yeah, we just keep it. What I always say, you just keep trying. Eventually, you'll win. So
that's right. Churn it through. You'll find your winner.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks again, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. Again, I apologize for the way this show started. My technical difficulties, guys. If you stuck around, we've all been there. I understand that, but man, like I'm sitting in here for Sean right now, being the host, and I don't know. That was just
we still got the AO right off the top. That's all we need.
Did.
We know the show's starting here. AO.
I'm always throwing in the AO when Sean's not here, no matter what. Anyway, thanks to Jim for coming on. You can download the Club Hawthorne app on literally any smartphone. So do that if you want to bet on the race tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun. If you want to bet on any sports that we're doing today or this weekend, you can also download the PointsBet app, Steven.
Oh, I already have it. I've been betting heavily, in fact.
Same. We got some bets coming up here. And the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you. Remember that PointsBet is your home for live in-game betting. They even have a new exclusive feature, live NBA same-game parlay for the first time ever. Build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. You can even boost your live same-game parlays. And now online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. It's so easy. I swear to you, I wouldn't lie to you about it. You can sign up in literally less than 10 minutes. Signing up with the fastest sportsbook is now easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. Use code CHGO to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Steven.
Cody.
Should I get my big 3 first?
Let's hear it.
All right. So let's start with day game. Is the first Friday 120 game at Wrigley Field this year, believe it or not.
Surprising.
A lot, the last few, they obviously they had one scheduled, but the last few have all either been postponed or changed the time. I remember when we had the Bulls watch party when they're in the playoffs, they were scheduled for 120. They ended up moving the game back to a night game because the weather was so bad that day. But finally, there is a Friday 120 game at Wrigley Field, and Cubs fans know how much of a vibe that is. So today, I'm riding Cubs money line, getting back on the win column at -140. Kyle Hendricks against Humberto Castellanos. What a name! Why can't he just be like Nick's brother or something and just be named like Bill
Kevin.
or something?
Yeah.
Kevin, yeah, you know what I mean. But Humberto Castellanos against Kyle Hendricks. Over-under is at 11.5 right now, so I believe the wind is blowing out. The over-under, or not but the odds for no-run first inning actually lean towards the over. You can get the under at +130 right now, so Vegas thinks there's going to be a lot of runs in this game. I think there could be, but Kyle Hendricks has pitched well at home. Not only this year, but throughout his career with the Cubs. So I'm avoiding that over-under of 11.5 because I feel like we'll probably get a decent start out of him. He did kind of struggle against Arizona, last weekend when in his last start, but he still managed to go 5 2/3, only gave up 2 or 3 runs, I believe. So I feel that we're going to get, normal Kyle Hendricks today. He is a ground ball pitcher. So if he's able to keep the ball down and locate where he wants it, this Diamondbacks offense that has actually really struggled over the last week, especially, should be held in check. We'll see. Some of the hitters do have good numbers. Christian Walker's batting like 400 against Hendricks in 10 plate appearances, so that's something to keep an eye on. If you want to make a home run bet and you don't want to bet on the Cubs, I feel like Christian Walker actually isn't a bad play. As for the Cubs, I think they win this game. They've seen Humberto Castellanos. They hit 2 home runs off him last weekend, so that's kind of why I'm on the money line here. They're coming off a loss, honestly a tough loss that they should have won. The Diamondbacks not playing well. They lost. They were losers of 6 straight until last night. Cubs won 6 of the last 10 games. So I think the Cubs here, as the schedule has gotten a little bit easier for them, is a good spot for them to bounce back here. And the Cubs have the rotation, are going through this weekend the rotation that they want. So betting wise, with Kyle Hendricks at home, I'm not going to bet against him. You can get it at -140. I think I'll take that. So I like that. And then let's move to tonight. White Sox, Yankees. I like Nestor Cortez to record a win because I don't blame you. I do not feel good about the White Sox going in this game. They did not play well against the Yankees last week. I would take Yankees -1.5, but the one game that Cortez pitched in, the Yankees barely got him run support. I know it was a different pitcher for the White Sox, but I know Dallas Keuchel he's boom or bust in a way. Like, he's been good in certain starts, so he's been bad in certain starts. It is on the road though, and the Yankees offense is one of the best in baseball. If I were to bet it, it's not a bad idea. It's at -115 to take Yankees -1.5. I'm sorry if I'm angering Sox fans as the Cubs fan here, but like I do not feel good for them.
Yeah, a weird thing with Dallas Keuchel, he's been horrendous this year. He's got a really good career record against the Yankees. I think he has a 2.07 ERA, and he did really well against them the last time out. But Nestor Cortez also did phenomenally well.
8 innings.
Yeah, the only guy that got multiple hits was Luis Robert. If I'm going off a player prop today, it's going to be Luis Robert to record a hit. But yeah, I just don't think we get that Dallas Keuchel 2 games in a row, especially against a Yankees team that just crushes everybody. Giancarlo Stanton has killed him in his career. Aaron Judge done really well. If you can limit those 2 guys, maybe you have a shot, but I'm going to stay away from that money line today.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to spin it in a way, the Sox are coming off a big comeback yesterday against the Royals.
It's a great game. One of their better games this season.
Right. And when we did the bet show yesterday, they were down 4-1 at the time, and you were down in the dumps, and I blame you. I would have been too.
I was ready to jump out the window, if I recall.
Yeah, but I would avoid money line here. If I'm betting on any team, I'm betting the Yankees. And if you're a Sox fan and you don't want to do that, well, hedge your bet. That's all I can say. So I like that. And then for the NBA game tonight, we got Warriors and Mavericks. I like Luka Doncic under 7.5 assists. He's gone under 7.5 assists in 3 of his last 5 games. He only had 4 assists in his last game. I was really wrong about the Mavericks going into game 1. I want to bet the Mavericks to cover that 6.5 or 6-point spread, but I think I'm going to avoid it tonight because my bank is only at $11 again. So
right back where you started, Cody.
Yeah, well, I went 1-1 yesterday. I got no run first inning for the Cubs and Diamondbacks, but then I had Zach Gallen over strikeouts, and he came 1 short, I believe. No, 2 short
in the game.
Yeah, I needed 6. And
now, an interesting thing I'm looking at in that Mavs Warriors game is the over/under 213. These are 2 really good offenses. Obviously, the pace of play slows down. You get shorter rotations in the playoffs. But I looked at the Mavericks 3-point shooting in their last game. Guess how many attempts they took?
I would say the way that team shoots the 3, I would say they took at least 20.
I'm going to tell you this. It was substantially more. They took 48 3-point attempts, the Mavericks did. They made 11 of them. I like the over in this game just because there's no way they're going to shoot 11 for 48 from 3 again. I mean, the 48's one thing, but the 11 – I think 48's too high of a number, and I think 11's too low of a number. I think you're going to see a much better percentage from 3, and we already know the Warriors stroke it from deep. So, right. I think the over hits today.
That's a good bet. I like shoot like that. I might ride that as well. It's interesting. I want to bet the Mavericks. I really do, but I really will probably avoid it. But I do like that over under analysis there. Hashtag analysis there from Steven. So, what I do like that. You want to talk about props. I took the under on Jordan Poole points. He had 19 in that first game. He is someone that I just do not trust on the stage still. But at home, I probably avoid it. Maybe wait until they go out to Dallas, see what happens there. But I think the safe bet here is Luka under on assists tonight, and that's weird because he's such a stat stuffer, but I don't know what it is. He's scoring all the points and getting all the rebounds, but no one's scoring off his passes. So,
well, if the game looks like this last one, he's going to have to shoulder a lot of that scoring load himself. So I don't hate that bet. 7.5. Right. It's about right for him. I think that's a very appropriately placed over under for his assist prop today.
Yeah, I agree. So, did you have a play for the Cubs game today?
for the Cubs game. Let's pull my notes right here.
I didn't even really give you a shot to talk about it, so I
you're good. You're
apologize.
good. I really do like the Cubs money line today. Kyle Hendricks, you mentioned it yourself, back at home. I love that. The matchup's good. Diamondbacks have been cold. Yeah, they won their last game. They lost the 6 prior to that. I think Kyle Hendricks gets the Cubs back on track tonight. I'm going to take the money line. If I want to be aggressive, which I don't, I would probably take the Cubs point spread as well. But I'm just going to stick with money line here.
Yeah, you taking that point spread on baseball is always bold. Perhaps if you want to bet a point spread and you don't want to bet against the White Sox, perhaps taking the Blue Jays -1.5 tonight against the Reds isn't a bad play
you love
either.
That bet.
I do love to bet against the Reds. The Reds actually been playing pretty well lately, but they also, they played the Pirates over the weekend, played the Guardians this week. Yeah, had no-hitter game, whatever. No-hitter team and still lost. But they still covered that game, which was annoying, whatever. But now they get to play Toronto.
I love that bet.
This is where Toronto gets hot. This is when they start, people start. I know it's early, but people are gonna talk over the weekend about how Toronto looks like insane. I don't even care that they're playing the Reds, but Toronto should put up 1,000 runs this weekend.
I think they will. I think that offense is, in my opinion, the Blue Jays offense might be the best in the major leagues. That's how good I think they are. They got Vladdy Jr. They got so much pedigree on that team.
For sure.
Bo Bichette, Vladdy Jr., Kevin Biggio is another one whose dad played in MLB as well. You can't teach that lineage.
Bo Bichette.
That offense. Bo Bichette. Dante Bichette was his father. You can't teach that lineage. I love their offense. And outside of Vladdy, we really haven't seen those robust offensive numbers. I think it's coming. Who better to have that happen against than the Reds, because they're gonna give you every opportunity you need.
Exactly. So I think that's a good way to end the show, man. Sign up, PointsBet, use code CHGO when you sign up. Live your bet life. You get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. That was my best way of saying the ad without actually reading it. Congratulations. We will be back on Monday. Sean, I think, will be back. Maybe Steven will be our producer again. So thanks, Steven, for jumping in the last couple of days.
Spot duty's been fun. It's been my pleasure.
And shout out to Jim Miller. You can follow him on Twitter at Hawthorne Jim. Make sure if you're watching live and you missed the first half of the show, it'll be up on the podcast forum, or you can just rewatch this video for all your horse racing needs for tomorrow for Preakness. Until then, though, we will see you Monday when hopefully we are all millionaires.